Alright, so Collision was last night. We only got 2 matches confirmed going into it, but obviously, as it always is, we got more matches confirmed. But yeah, obviously we had our Women's Owen Hart Cup quarter-final match, and a bunch of other stuff. It wasn't the most action-packed Collision, I'll say that, and there definitely was problems, in my opinion, with it, but the point is, let's talk about it. Our show actually opened up with our AEW Women's Tag Team title match between the Divine Dominion versus TayJay and Jay and Tay Melo. This match was actually pretty good. It was actually really good, and saying that from me, as someone who isn't a fan of really the Divine Dominion and the women's tag scene, I enjoyed this. I thought Jay and Tay Melo looked really good together. It was nice to see, Divine Dominion actually tested for a good bit, and I think they look good here, but I think the dynamic and the fluidity of Jay and Tay Melo specifically was great. I feel like they really banked on Tay Melo's hot tag, and when that was obviously in play, that really worked. She was doing a lot of clotheslines. She looked really aggressive compared to Jay, but Jay's just movement is really good. Lena Kross and Megan Bayne are both obviously very much of the bigger, we're going to hit you, larger in life. Megan Bayne, obviously, with the drop kicks and shit like that. But honestly, this match went for 10-15 minutes. I feel like, honestly, I like this match. This is one of the better matches of the show. And I didn't expect to say that going in. I really didn't. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was quite fun. Nice change of pace. It definitely shows what we need to be doing with both sets of women. I do think, they had shocked. The Divine Dominion still won. But overall, it was really fun. Like I say, I really couldn't believe how fun it was. I do think, again, this does show what we need to do with both sets. The squash matches are fine, but we need to start doing something with the Divine Dominion and the women's tag belts, because the women's roster's kind of short anyway, so we just need to kind of either just fucking ignore it or just go for it. And Jay and Tay Melo, honestly, I wouldn't be against that being a bit more of a story and a bit more of a feud to go forward so they can eventually win the belts. But I think the end goal's pretty obvious for everyone to see with the Divine Dominion and the tag belts. But I like this. I hope we get to see more of TayJay as a team. I thought they really impressed here. And overall, this was pretty good. Again, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I enjoyed this. This was one of the better matches of the night. After this, we actually get the Don Callis family backstage, and they're doing that like it was RPG Vice, Rocky Romero and Trent Berretta, Jake Doyle and Lance Archer in the background, and then they were doing like a Josh Alexander type of promo where he used to grab it and talk directly into the camera, but now Rocky and Trent are doing it, which was fun. I do like Rocky and Trent. I miss Josh Alexander, man, I really do. And they basically saying, sometimes you've got to cut the cancer out directly, and that's what Takeshita did, and we replaced him with the best athletic wrestler in the world right now, Kevin Knight, and it's like, oh, I've still got thoughts about that, but okay. But, yeah, that was kind of it, and then Lance Archer goes, everybody dies, to start of nowhere, and then Jake Doyle just looks so awkward, he goes, he starts screaming. I was like, that's funny as hell. But if they're pushing RPG Vice a bit more, especially Rocky and, Rocky's brilliant, but either him and Trent as together, I like they're getting more screen time. They're like the mouthpiece for the Don Callis family now that Josh Alexander's out. I like this. I like Josh Alexander, but I really like Josh Alexander, but I like Rocky and Trent. I think that's a good substitute for those three. And honestly, when they come back, that should be a trio. But besides the point, promo was fine. The less we talk about Kevin Knight and the Don Callis family, the better. After this, we actually got our showcase match between Shane Taylor himself, which was pretty cool. I like Shane Taylor. And he is versing Alan Angels, which, fuck, I haven't seen Alan Angels in a hot minute. We covered the match between Alan Angels and Brian a while ago, which I will be getting back onto the Brian run soon, don't worry. And, basically, Shane Taylor kicks his ass, big right hands, what you expect. They're really putting over the fact that he dropped Jon Moxley and stuff the other week. And he's really antagonizing the Death Rider. He says Death Riders are known as, after the match he gets the mic, he basically goes, after the Death Riders are known as most dangerous, but at the end of the day, Shane Taylor promotions are here to prove that all wrong, and calls out Jon Moxley saying, you want to prove that, and then the Death Riders signatory hits. And then we get our next match straight away, which is the Death Riders Trio 3v3 versus, the Death Riders, it's Moxley, Pac, and Claudio, which is like the A side of the Death Riders, versus Shane Taylor Promotions, which is the Infantry, Shawn Dean, and I forget his name, because I always think it's Claudio Bravo, and that's the fucking old, that's the old keeper for City. So I forget his name, but it's Bravo. I think it's Charlie Bravo. And Lee Moriarty, the pure champ. Obviously, he's squaring up against Nigel McGuinness with Shawn Dean and Bravo. And this match was straight away. This match was good. I will say Bravo is a fucking... He is the man. He steals the show. Oh my god, I think it's... So I was really... with the infantry, I've really liked the infantry for a while. I think they're really good. And I think with this match, I was trying to... Because, like, frankly, I'm terrible with names. Look how long it took me to get the fucking Rascals names off the top of my head. And, like... I think with the infantry, what I really like is the charisma. And I forget, I was trying to figure out which one's Shawn Dean, which one's Bravo. And it's like, oh, okay, I think it's Bravo. Hopefully it's Bravo. But they're both charismatic, but Jesus, I think it's Bravo. He is incredible. His loudmouth nature, both so athletic. They sell like hell. Oh my God, they steal a show. And like with this match, it's pretty good. Like, you know, it's what you kind of just go bland a bit because it's like, oh, we've seen this now. And, like, we all know how good Lee Moriarty is, but he doesn't really get a chance to shine in this match. The shine is with the infantry, specifically Bravo, and I think he absolutely crushes it. I think he is incredible. He's comical. Obviously, you got the BBC move where they come and do the dick move, and then he goes, hey, man, this is their BBC. And then, you know, all stuff like that. Yuta and Garcia in the background. And then... there's the girl, XO, I forget her first name, but it's like XO, and then this other girl I've never seen with the Shane Taylor promotions before, and they're outside the ring for the Shane Taylor, and it's one of those matches where it doesn't really have a structure. It definitely doesn't have a structure, but it just kind of just goes a bit wild with it, what it wants to do, and I feel like that's what's more beneficial with it, where it's like, the talent, like, you wouldn't get a match like this in any other company, because the talents are trusted here. And that's what I really think was necessary for it. I thought, with a match like this, you need to kind of let the talent breathe, and that's where the comic side comes in, especially with the infantry. And the chemistry's there. A lot of it's Pac. A lot of it does have Pac involved, and he's getting his ass beat, which I'm not a fan with that. But when Pac's on it, Pac gets the finish, which is great. But I do like it. Like so there's a point where what I liked was, so Pac's going for, I think it was the Black Arrow, it's towards the end, and Shane Taylor comes out commentary and pushes Pac. And then it's like, whoa, and then he's squared up to by, then Yuta and Garcia attack him. And because the girl is distracting the ref at this point. So then all the Death Riders do their, it was the XO girl who pushed Pac. And then it was like, whoa, then Shane Taylor attacked. And then it just starts breaking down, and then, like, throughout this match, Marina Shafir isn't there. Then she runs out and then just drops the girl. The one we don't know. Drops her. And then it just fucking, the Death Riders just all start doing, the run and move. Claudio does the giant swing. I think this is all on Bravo. And then Moxley does a kick. And then Pac does like his fucking 6 fucking rope runs. And then does a lariat. Brutal does the brutalizer. Shawn Dean, I think it was Bravo or Shawn Dean, I forget. It's one of the infantry. They do their verbal tap. And then, that's the match won. And... honestly, the match had a lot of moments that were charming. Was it a great match in terms of like, oh my God, you need to see this? No, it wasn't. But I enjoyed it. The infantry are just great. You just need to get them more involved in that tag division because they are really fucking good. The charisma, everything they show is just 10 out of 10. Obviously, we all know how good Lee Moriarty is, and Shane Taylor's a great speaker too. But the infantry are the stars. They're incredible. Push them, please. Really enjoy that. After this, we actually get our Tommaso Ciampa showcase match. He's against a wrestler just called Beef. That was pretty funny. Ciampa basically gets the win, what you expect, and then just cuts the promo on Jericho. He just attacks the dude. Beef gets fucked up, and then he leaves. And then he goes back and then starts breaking his ass. He finishes it with the walls, which was pretty cool. Then he goes back outside the ring, drags Beef outside, and starts doing the walls there. And then goes, Shivani, come here, bring that dumbass microphone with you. And then he starts demanding Shivani to go, Shivani, tell to everyone, I am better than Jericho. And or I'll break his back. And Shivani's like, you're better than Jericho. And then he goes, no, say Tommaso Ciampa's better than Chris Jericho. And he does, and then he basically, he does, and then, let's go. And he goes, Chris, you can't run, but you can't hide. I will always be watching. It's like, well, Ciampa's doing all the heavy lifting in this feud, and I think I'm going to have to make a complaint. I'm going to have to make a complaint here. No, but, like, there's a lot of feuds where you look at, specifically Cope and Cage and Jericho, one where they're building just from one side, and it's not really fair, but, you know, you gotta get that, but it's something that needs to be acknowledged. It does make you think, why the hell are we doing with this with Ciampa? But, I mean, I don't know at this point. Either way, showcase, fine. Ciampa's on TV. That's always a good thing. After this, we actually go backstage, and it's Shane Taylor backstage, and he's talking to the mic, calling out Moxley, saying, Moxley, you say you're the most dangerous, stuff like that. And he goes, well, look what I did here. And he shows that he's jumped Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta's down on the ground in pain, fucked. And then Shane Taylor basically calls out Moxley for that match at Cincinnati next week, obviously Moxley's hometown, calling him out for the Continental belt, saying, Moxley, look, I'm not afraid. I'm like you. I will prove that I'm the most dangerous. So you're going to back down from a challenge. And that's how he lends it. So it's like, okay, so I'm just calling out. So it makes sense, you know. I forget where they said. I think Shane Taylor's from Cleveland, and I think them and Cincy have got a bit of a rivalry. So I think that might be they're trying to get that too. But he's really working it well. I do like Shane Taylor. I'm glad that he's getting minutes, as the whole promotion is. Obviously, Yuta getting jumped. We're running it back. We're running it back. But either way, yeah, fine. Definitely something that's intriguing, and obviously it serves a purpose, and I'm happy about that. After this, we get Clark Connors versus Juice Robinson. Now, this is a match on paper where I've made it very clear that I'm a big Juice Robinson guy and I'm a big Clark Connors guy, so I was really looking forward to this. And this is a match on paper that I really like. It obviously does follow on from previous week where the Dogs faced the Guns, and then obviously the Bang Bang Gang, well, Juice and Ace come back down to help them, and they run off when Juice was there, and obviously they've got the Bullet Club ties too. Now, the problem is with this, for this match, one, I thought it went too long. I did, and I thought it was kind of a nothing burger of a match. I feel like they could have done a bit more, but hey-ho. But also, I will say, I feel like the problem is with this, is they're building this is a good idea for a feud. The Bang Bang Gang versus the Dogs, obviously, and then this could be debatably, I feel like I'm saying this every time, and it is just massive cope. Not him, but you know, a massive copium. Is this could be the way we bring Jay White back, obviously the history with David Finlay, etc. And I just, the fact that the Dogs are kind of held up with the tag titles, which I didn't like that as an idea. I'm not against it, but I just like, there's better people, and they're still kind of feuding with the Bucks. And again, like the previous one we said with Ciampa, where it's like they're doing all the lifting in this feud, so it's weird. The match was good, obviously, expect from Juice. I like how Juice is portrayed here, where he is a bit more serious, but then the more and more he's infuriated, he starts going a bit more wild. That's what I like from Juice. He does the pissing spot. He hasn't done that in a while. And the match is fine. I mean, like, it's not... I feel like he could have got a better match here. I just don't know why. I just don't think it really saw. I do love Clark Connors. I think Clark Connors is excellent. I think he's much better than David Finlay, to be honest. I think David Finlay coming in with the Chilalli and then Juice taking him out was pretty cool. And then the finish was bullshit, where Juice had basically the match. He was going for the match. He does a big-ass kick. And then he gets forced to the ropes. David Finlay hits him with the Chilalli. Clark Connors hits the finish and gets the win. And I don't know, obviously Clark Connors is going to win, and this is the problem, right? I feel like now that where you've got the Dogs involved in feuds that aren't the tag titles, it's like, we're going to know what happens. We're going to know, like, David Finlay and Clark Connors are going to win in some way. And it's like, to build up a feud that there's no real build to it, because it's just them calling out, still doing the 5-second pose. And it's like, okay. And then he tries to, like, Clark Connors brings out matches and tries to set Juice on fire. That was pretty weird. But, like, I just don't get it. I just don't get this. I just feel like there could be something more. I feel like you could have had the Bang Bang Gang outside the ring. That would have added a lot more, because they're wild and they can elevate a match just from their character alone. They really can. And I just feel like there's so much more you can do, and they just, I don't know, I feel like this is going nowhere, and this is what kind of upsets me, because there's definitely legs here. You could do a lot here with the Bang Bang Gang and the Dogs. I feel like that's definitely a way, but it feels like we're just in a rut with the Dogs, and the Bang Bang Gang are struggling with stuff to do, because everyone's just waiting for Jay to return, but we forget that the rest of the group are really fucking good. Juice is obviously getting a bit more Collision minutes, which, you know, Collision Cowboy, hell yeah. The Guns, I would have liked the Guns to have a tag match admittedly this week. They don't. They only appear through the entrance too. They don't even appear at the end of the match, which was a bit shit. But hey ho, we could have got Ace Austin versus David Finlay announced or some shit. That could have worked, actually, but that's the only one who hasn't faced. But I don't know, I just feel like the problem is with this match is I don't want to get invested, because I know it's not the feud. even though I'd like this to be the feud, it feels like that's a logical step. Especially the history of all of them, especially with Juice on, you know, the Bullet Club stuff, obviously. I don't know, I just feel like that's just something we could have done. I hope we do eventually. I feel like that's a natural way, but I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to invest in stuff. The match was fun, the match was fine. You know, I do like both wrestlers, but hopefully they run this back and it's under different circumstances, because I would like to get invested. I just couldn't. Just subconsciously, I just couldn't. After this, we actually get our TBS title Survival of the Fittest update. They just talk about it, saying it's going to start, it's going to be qualifying rounds, it's just going to keep building, and we get like a little promo announcing some of the people who are going to be in it. Shida, Stat, Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, which was a fucking big get. I was really happy about that. And there's Zayda Steel, which I'm also really happy about too. I feel like they do put a lot of pressure on it being Stat and Shida, obviously, with their history. And Shida's kind of snapping a bit more now, where she's like, I come back and I try to be nice to everyone. And everyone's just nasty to me back, thinking they're better than me. You're not better than me. All stuff like that. Harley and Mina obviously sets up that they could go up against each other. They're just funny as fuck together. I don't know why. And honestly, I think as an actual little tournament, this could be a tournament, whatever, Survival of the Fittest. I like that Aminata is back. I think she should, honestly, I wouldn't be against her winning the damn thing. But also, Zayda Steel being in there. They're really big on Zayda Steel, I've noticed that. And Zayda Steel isn't bad. I think she just needs a bit more time. Something like this. She's just come out of the Survival of the Fittest for the Ring of Honor belt they did on Supercard, I think it was. So it's like, there's definitely some stuff to do there. But, honestly, I like this. I think the two could win it. Well, the three really is. I wouldn't be against Aminata winning it. I think that's definitely a good call. We need to get her back in the scene. I do think Shida will win it. I think Shida makes sense. But Mina's the one who's deserving it the most. Mina deserves it more than anyone there. But honestly, I'm looking forward to this. We're going to assume there's more people there, because like they did say Julia Hart was going to be in this shit, and she isn't shown here. So there's definitely going to be a few more. But either way, honestly, I like that so far. I think this could be really fun. I'm looking forward to what they do. After this, we actually get Moxley backstage with Marina, and he's responding to Shane Taylor, saying Shane Taylor took out Wheeler Yuta, young Wheeler. I'm like, bro, he's over 30. What do you mean, young? I love Wheeler, but he's not young no more. And he basically just starts saying, will I do the same? I don't know. Probably. He basically just confirms, you want a shot at this belt? Okay, Shane, you got it, but just remember, you asked for this shit like that. They confirm it, obviously, for Cincinnati. Big pop. This will be fun. This will be fun. I'm looking forward to what they do here. Shane and I like this. I like this a lot. The Shane Taylor and the Friday stuff is something I didn't expect to like as much as I do, but I'm really liking it. Honestly, I can't wait for Dynamite next week. Well, to see this, I really can't. After this, we actually get our AEW World Trios champions, the Conglomeration, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy, versus LFI, which is Roosh, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Dralístico, which was fun to see, and Sammy Guevara. Now, big question, why the fuck are we getting Sammy Guevara? Where the hell is Mortos? That's the better guy. They're slowly getting Sammy Guevara back into this AEW roster. I do not like this. Please do not do it. And we're suffering from Mortos is the better wrestler. He's not even there. Where's my beloved? Where's Mortos? Is he safe? Is he alright? That's what I felt like saying. Oh my god. I just don't get it. Like, Sammy Guevara is the one that I just don't get. Sammy, he's a fine wrestler, but it's the character shit that's just bad. It's just not good. And he feels like he's the man. He's going like, and it's not just, oh, I don't like him because he's a heel. No, I don't like it because it's not good. Like, he does like 2 eye pokes and he's like acting like that's unique. He does the tranquilo pose, and like the match. The only thing with this match is this one where it feels like it goes on for a bit too long. But also, the only time the match kind of gets in itself is when it's Roosh versus Roddy. I feel like when it's those two going at it, which shock, right? But like that's when it really starts elevating and it starts getting really fun. There's the hard-hitting nature of the two of them. Roosh is obviously the guy they're really pushing. Dralístico doesn't get a lot of minutes here, and I really like Dralístico. So I was kind of upset about that. I was upset. But the crowd, Roosh is over again. Like, Jesus, that man's over. He does, you mess with the ball. And then the entire crowd goes, you get the horns. But Orange Cassidy rolls out. Cassidy's on his bullshit, as you expect. You know, he does his elbow drop, but he does it from the from the bottom, not even the bottom turnbuckle, from the floor, just walks. Guevara has to do the fucking, well, he does the tranquilo pose with the spin, because obviously Cassidy's so over to try and impress the crowd, and then Cassidy just does it like manually by forcefully spinning himself and does it. So, like, you know, Cassidy's on his bullshit. Kyle and Dralístico don't really have much to do, which is kind of a shame, because they're probably my two favourites out of all of the group. But I thought the match was fine. It's like kind of a nothing burger of a match. It doesn't work for me. One, because there's a wrestler I actively don't like in the ring. But also, I just feel like they focus so much on Guevara's character work. And I don't think it's good character work. So it's like, what are we doing? And I think that like the aerial stuff to Guevara that's definitely his aim. That's definitely where he's at his best. But it's like, Rush is the guy you want to push. So we're pushing Rush. And when Rush is doing it, especially against Roddy 1v1, it's great. But then, as it continues as a match, it's fun, it's fine, but like it feels like it was held back against itself, and that's what I didn't like about it. Is not that I didn't like the match, I just didn't like that aspect. I thought like you could have done so much more with this match. You could have like pushed it, the speed, the pace. There was nothing like that. I feel like the only time I felt realised was Roddy versus Rush. The Conglomeration get the win as you expect, but I just feel like I understand we know Guevara, and like, you know, Guevara's known and shit like that, but like LFI, like as a trio to me, is better without Guevara. Mortos is there, and everyone can acknowledge that Mortos is a better wrestler. People would argue Mortos is the best out of all of LFI, and honestly, not a wild claim. Mortos is brilliant, and we haven't seen Mortos in ages. I just feel like this one, I understand we got to defend the trios belts with the Conglomeration, but I just don't think there was a lot of fun in this match, and I feel like that's what I miss with Conglomeration matches. They do need these fun aspects, which, when it's there, it's great, but I just feel like this one was kind of like we just needed to continue having Rush on TV after his title match. We didn't want him to go away, and just get Guevara out of there, man. Just get Guevara away for a bit. Like, if you're gonna do Guevara, do him singles, don't have him with LFI. It doesn't fit. It really doesn't fit. You watch it and you're like, it's like that picture of the clown in the army thing. That's what it's like. It's just, I'm just not into it. But the match was fine. Conglomeration of fun. But yeah, overall, fine match. Just give me more. Give me my beloved Mortos. I need an attorney at law. God damn it, I need him back. After this, we actually get the Dogs backstage following their match, and they talk about basically just calling out the Bucks, saying they've got their, you know, the Bucks. Weirdly, they're calling out the Bucks after the match with the Bang Bang Gang, which was weird. And they're saying the Bucks are trying to claim that they're the ones for the tag belts, when reality we're the ones who have tried to, you know, made our mark by actually acting instead of waiting. So let's have a match next week to, you know, finally get this decided. And they just do a 5-second pose, which is weird, and that was it, really. I'm just not into the Dogs at this point. This was a fine promo, actually. It was one of the better promos David Finlay's done, but I just feel like they're just missing that one thing, and I just feel like there's so many other options we could do with them, and we're not doing with them. So hopefully that is resolved. But yeah, they're at least announcing the match with them and the Bucks for next week, which I'm actually looking forward to. And hopefully that means that the title shot will be on the line and we can just give it to the Bucks. But yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be against that. And Bang Bang Gang costing them, kind of doing that swerve was something that kind of has your cake and eat it too. But either way, this fine promo, whatever you expect, it's fine. After this, we actually get the Conglomeration backstage with Ishii, with Big Tom. He's in the corner, and they're just talking about, you know, basically just rambling for a second, like me. And then Rocky Romero and Trent Berretta come up, and they instantly go to Cassidy. Goes, "You think you're good from beating those guys? You know, why don't you face next week against the real Latino man, Andrade?" And I thought, like, are they setting up RPG Vice and Andrade? But they're talking directly to Cassidy, and Cassidy's like, "What? No, get out of here." And they tell him to get out of here. And he's like, "Okay, fine, whatever. I'll face Andrade." And then Rocky leaves. Then Trent Berretta walks up. Obviously, him and Cassidy have got that history. And Roddy steps up a bit. And I thought Roddy was going to, like, square off against Trent, and we were going to get that match. That match would be really fucking good, actually. And then basically Trent Berretta just kisses his new watch and just walks away. It's like, what? And then Cassidy goes, "Lexi, I need to lie down." Yeah, fine. We're getting Andrade versus Cassidy next week. That's actually really good. I actually really like that. I don't want to undersell that. But I thought they were setting up a trios match, and they're not. But honestly, if we get something to do with that, give me a follow-up with that Trent and Roddy thing. That could be really fucking good, actually. I really want that. However, after this, we get our main event, our AEW Owen Hart Foundation tournament. The women's side of the quarterfinal, the CMLL World Women's Champion Persephone versus Hazuki, the SPARK Joshi World Champion. Now, this match was very anticipated, easily the most anticipated match of the night. And obviously, I forgot to mention this last time when they had the match with Hazuki last week. They're really still selling Persephone's vision on the from the Mist and the match she had with the Sisters of Sin, where she's a bit altered and she's like struggling with it. And that's kind of the story with this match. I like the match. I think it's great. I think Hazuki looks good as you expect, and Persephone looks good here too. They do really play into like every few minutes. Like it's a 20-minute match, and they feel like it's every 2 seconds. Like the eye stuff is really playing into it, and that's clearly the downfall for Persephone here. Hazuki looks good. Hazuki looks really good. You can clearly tell the athleticism with Hazuki, and like the aerial maneuvers, like the way she dives, the way she kicks especially. She's really fucking good. I feel like the problem is, this reminded me, it's going to sound wild, between, it actually doesn't when you consider it, Andrade and Yota Tsuji's matches, where Yota Tsuji, it's ironically enough Mexican versus Japanese. And what I like about that is, I like that match. I think that both matches of those are good, but I said it in the videos I made, is they're holding, like, Andrade's speed specifically, which is weird. They're holding Andrade's speed back, and I don't think they're allowing Andrade to go. And I feel like that's the problem they have with Hazuki here. I feel like they could have let Hazuki go a bit quicker, and that could have been, for me, the angle was, I think you could have done is, Hazuki, so Persephone's still struggling with the vision, but then Hazuki's still kind of limited. And then they're kind of like, Hazuki's speed, I think at that point should just let her go and just let her just bombard Persephone. So then the eye selling, it's like she actually can't see, regardless of keeping up with it. And that would have sold the win a bit more, because Hazuki does win. But it's like, I don't know, I just feel like, I just don't know, I just didn't feel like they let Hazuki go to the lengths that she could. I don't feel like they didn't let her go to a Joshi style match, and that's what I thought we were going to get, and we didn't. I thought they definitely, like the way they're advertising the Stardom girls, obviously, and the way they're bringing them in, it's like Joshi's such a big deal, which it is. It's such a different style, it's such a unique style, such a quick, athletic beast. And not that this isn't athletic, it's just not quick, and I feel like that's kind of a big detractor for it. I'm not saying it needs to be like a fucking, Speedball versus Kevin Knight, where it's bang, 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 bang. No, but it just needs to have a bit more speed from Hazuki. Not that Hazuki's specifically slow, but you can tell it's not a Japanese match or a Mexican match. You can tell that it's very much an American style match. And I don't think that is a bad thing. I just feel like that's something that needs to be said about it, because going into this, you're expecting at least some sort of Joshi and even just lucha type of match, which are both very synonymous with being quick, and they're not that. And it's fine, because they really play into Persephone's stature of the bot, like, the strength in the body, where she's slamming Hazuki, and it's a lot more, obviously. But Hazuki looks pretty much, after 5 minutes, it's clear that Hazuki's going to win it to me, because obviously selling Persephone's eye injury. But Hazuki looks good. I do think she was over, like the crowd was screaming for her. She goes for this, I think it was a springboard or like a top rope dive, and she goes to do it, and the crowd like screaming at her, and she keeps going like that. It's like, Hazuki, no, this isn't the Japanese crowd. Like they won't scream for you like that. And she keeps doing it, and then she eventually does the dive. She does get the win. The win was a bit anticlimactic, admittedly. I did think that. I thought the win, it was kind of like a roll-up or a slide. I don't know if that's Hazuki's regular finish, but it's not. It was just kind of like, she won? Okay. Persephone, and like they really play into that, because obviously Persephone's wounded, Persephone's gutted, she can't believe it. Hazuki's made up. It was she gets a big pop for the win. And it's a good match. It's probably match of the night, if I'm honest. It just feels like the entire Collisions matches this week were kind of not the greatest. They weren't just the most inviting, in that makes sense. This was the most intriguing, obviously, with being the Owen. But it feels like, again, they just held Hazuki back for a bit. I feel like, because obviously the next match now was here and Monet, running that back, ironically, I've done a video on that, that was wild. And I feel like that's going to really be fun. I feel like that's going to allow Hazuki to go and get us a true, specifically AEW fans. I've only seen a small bit of Hazuki, but what I've seen I've liked. The AEW fans, a lot of people who haven't seen Hazuki will probably really like that a bit more. I assume if they've watched this, they wouldn't have a strong impression. Not a bad one, but just not a strong one. And I feel like the next one with Mercedes will give that. Now, speaking of Mercedes, she comes out after the match because Persephone and Hazuki shake hands and they show respect, and then they walk off. And then Persephone stays in the ring as Hazuki walks off. And then Mercedes comes in and hits the statement maker, because obviously Mercedes lost her CMLL belt to Persephone. And obviously that's like a whole thing. She's screaming, Persephone, all that shit. And like Persephone's in real pain. And then like it's just like everyone's like, where the hell is the run out? And there's no run out. And then Hazuki runs back. Now this I didn't like. I straight up didn't like this, where they do it and then Mercedes runs off, obviously seeing Hazuki. Hazuki like goes down to check if Persephone's alright, and then Mercedes with I think it was the CMLL belt, she goes up and attacks Hazuki with it, and then like I think she hits a statement maker on air going, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Then security breaks them up. Hazuki gets Hazuki gets a dive on her after that, and then it still gets broken up. But I was like, I didn't like that. I think you could have sold, because Hazuki and Mercedes have a history, obviously, on the Joshi stuff. And it's like, you could have sold that in the sense of Hazuki staring down Mercedes and Mercedes not attacking. That would have really sold and really elevated Hazuki for people who aren't aware of her. And then for her to go, do you know who I am? It's like, well, yeah, she's faced you like how many times? Like, you've clearly got a history. It's kind of negating that. I just didn't enjoy that. I thought that was kind of a wrong move in terms of presentation. And this is the thing, I love Mercedes, I really do, but I feel like this heel stuff, it's kind of putting them in a corner when that, I don't even think that's true, admittedly. I just feel like they should have just had Mercedes look at her, stare down, they could have had a stare down, really invite that there's a bit of history, really explain that just through visual, and then have Mercedes walk away. And then that could be it. But the fact that she attacked kind of undersells Hazuki, and that kind of helps Hazuki be an underdog, which is definitely a benefit for her. But I just feel like, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that bit of presentation. But that is how the card ends. And the match overall, the main event, was good. I just feel like it held Hazuki back. Hopefully they don't next time with Mercedes. I think that match will be great. But I just feel like hopefully they just let her go. Just let her go for the speed. And that's all we need. So yeah, that's Collision this week. I do think it was good. I don't think it was great. I feel like a lot of the matches felt like a bridge Collision in a way where it's like just things happened just to move us forward. A lot of announcements for Dynamite next week, which was kind of good. Obviously, it's summer blockbuster. I do think the matches are never bad on AEW. I'll never say that, but they were definitely lackluster comparing to it. I do feel like they were all good matches. Even the Clark Connors and Juice Robinson one, that was a good match. But it's hard to invest yourself. Like, the one that was the most investing, ironically, was the Divine Dominion. Besides the main event, obviously. The main event was the most investing by a mile, because the Owen. But, the matches were fine. The Owen match was the main thing going into it. I was debating just skipping ahead to watch the Owen match at some points. And I didn't, obviously. But, I just feel like as a match, that one was good. It just, again, I can't state that enough. They just need to let Hazuki just breathe a bit. Just let her go. Don't limit her move set. But the stuff we get developed, I'm surprised we didn't get nothing with more with Tekla, more with Cage and Cope. It just feels like we're just kind of running the same things as last week in a way, and which is fine. The main thing here is they do set up the Shane Taylor and Death Rider stuff for next week. That's obviously the main goal here for this week. But I do feel like we could have, and some of the matches went a bit too long. I feel like you could have let that Persephone and Hazuki match go for at least half an hour. You could have let that go for longer, and they don't. And I feel like that was kind of bullshit. The Juice Robinson Clark Connors match didn't need to be that long. The Conglomeration Trios match definitely didn't need to be that long. And even then, still I just feel like there's a lack of changes for the overall picture of AEW. But again, that might be biased. But overall, pretty fine show. It just wasn't great. And overall, the matches were good. Again, just not great. Just a good show. Not great, but still pretty good. Definitely not a waste of time. Definitely not. So, that was my thoughts on AEW Collision this week. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought of Hazuki and Persephone. Actually, I'm really interested to see what people think about that match, especially Joshi fans. And yeah, hopefully Summer Blockbuster this week will be pretty good, because the amount they've set up for it looks to be a really fucking good show.